Welcome to episode 6 of Chippy, what is normally a random, meandering, wandering chat through our last week of screen print with me, Tony Palmer, and
Danny D from Flippin' Sweet.
Oh, we are slick at that now. We're just going to normally take a look back at what's happened this week in life, general and screen print, but we're going to actually change it up. This week, we've got a dedicated theme. So, touching on something we sort of looked at last week, me and Danny have decided to dedicate this week's episode to what we call Fantasy Print Shop. So, how would you describe it, Danny?
Basically, you've kindly donated £1 million to me.
Out my own pocket, mind you.
Out your own pocket. Bless you. I've always liked you. And I'm going to budget it up. I'm going to build my dream print shop. And so are you. And we're going to go over the shopping list and how it's laid out and see what we come up with.
So the normal, unscripted, random, generic bollocks that we normally do has actually got a theme this week. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we're going topical. We're going to try...
Topical, check us out. Right, okay. Right, so the premise is absolutely no holds barred, completely limitless.
Yep.
So we can have anything we want. We can have any brand we want. We're going to name the brands because why the hell not? And we're going to build an imaginary print shop called Chippy T Productions.
Ah.
Yeah, it's going to be in purpose-built 25,000 square foot area, which we're getting donated for free.
Oh.
Is that in your budget? It's not
I budgeted that, so I've got some change now.
Yeah, oh, right, okay. All right, we'll pay for it. I did have some money left on mine, but not a lot because it's strange. This is the Yorkshire in me, and probably same as you. When it's real money in front of me, I ain't spending a bleeding penny.
Oh,
imaginary money, I can spaff this against the wall like the best of them.
No, I'm tight even with imaginary dosh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I've got it budgeted to a T.
So we've got to kick it off then. Where are we starting?
Well, where you putting it? Where you putting your print shop?
Where am I putting my print shop? Oh, Jesus, Caribbean island, mate.
Caribbean island?
Just on beach, yeah, with an open front.
That's it.
Think Tom Cruise cocktail, that sort of place.
Oh, I know, I'm changing my mind now. See, I'm going to stick mine in the middle of a field somewhere. But
I know a few middle of a field already. I ain't got a place. You've got a place. How far have you gone with this? You're taking this really seriously. Come on, where's your place? Where are you putting it?
Well, I haven't got a specific location. I want it middle of nowhere, middle of a field with a nice view, totally peaceful and quiet. I reckon I can get somewhere like that for $300 or $400.
You want internet, water, electric, and that's it.
Yeah, 3-phase. Maybe some sheep in the background, which is obviously the most important bit. A nice...
We both know someone who has this print shop location.
It's amazing, isn't it? We do some fantasising. We talk about all these scenarios, and there's always somebody who's actually got it. I'm jealous of them.
Yeah, there is. Yeah,
a nice twisty gravel road leading up to it. I might even have if you go to Graceland, there's got the big gates with Elvis or whatever. I'm going to have big, massive gates up this gravel road. And it'll say, Flippin' Sweet, piss off.
No digitisers must enter here. Vector art salesman by appointment only.
DPD, just leave it at gate or pick it up when I can be bothered.
All right, okay, so you have really gone into this. Jesus, I'm feeling a little bit unprepared now.
I've spent the past 3 days thinking about this. So
okay,
building.
How much money did you have down for that then?
Well, we've got £1 million in total, and I reckon I can get something like that, $300 or $400. So my budget for equipment, I've not gone over 500. So I've got
the downside at $300 is you might have to be in somewhere shit like Scotland.
Well, Yeah, well, it don't matter, does it? When you've got £1,000,000, yeah. You'll come to realise my fantasy print shop is I've sort of nailed life here with this £1,000,000. I'm going to buy all the gear that I want.
Is it the exact opposite of the print shop you're in now?
Oh, are you?
Because we've started. Obviously, you're in sort of like a town centre, a city centre.
Yeah.
So you've got, what did you call it? Smackhead Alley below.
Smackhead Alley, yeah.
you've got Drug Dealer Drive right below your crappy window.
Yeah.
You're populated by lots and lots of people and seagulls. They're in every episode.
Yeah. I've got my window shut today again, so I've got window shut.
Right, okay. So either you die of asphyxiation or we hear seagulls.
Yeah.
We can edit the seagulls out.
I've got a cold, wet towel on top of my head.
Right, okay. This is the reason we don't do video.
Hi.
So your location is pretty much opposite to what you have now.
It is, yeah. And it's just in the middle of nowhere. I just want a bit of peace and quiet in the middle of nowhere. Just to spend my days doing what I love, what I'm passionate about. Just making cool t-shirts with me fancy gear.
Okay.
And my barbecues outside. Might even live in a caravan.
How big's your unit? Have you worked out a square foot?
I reckon I'm going to need, not massive. I don't think I need more than a couple of 1,000 square foot. I broke it down into 4 very important rooms. So the screen room, the print shop or the print floor, whatever you want to call it, and the finishing room, and most importantly, the green room. So the green room is not where we grow as weed. It's just a green room for chilling out in.
Okay.
So I'll leave that until last because I've got some money in that one. Because that's probably the most important room.
You've put a lot more effort into this than I have. I think you're going to go top of the class. I'm going to be sat in the corner staring at my feet.
I can't wait to hear what you... Well, the thing is, the differences between me and you is you've actually seen all this shit in action, so you really know. I'm just plucking it out of thin air, just trying to make it up and hope it's reasonably sensible.
I've gone almost accountant-wise on mine. I've got prices for everything, and I've still got sort of like a big chunk of money left, but I didn't put anything down for premises. So we're gonna level the playing field. I'm gonna go for rent for the first.
Oh, you say I'm buying the bugger, me.
But you can't buy. You can't. If I buy what I want, I'm gonna have a smaller carousel than you've got now.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Well,
I'm gonna have
Well, this is going to be the difference between my shop and your shop. My shop is based on I've won lottery. I've got £1,000,000. I'm going to set up the shop for my ideal scenario, and my ideal scenario is not to be stressing about keeping up with production and keeping on top of bills and stuff like this. I'm building a small, manageable shop with fancy gear that I can put out the prints that I want. And with all this gear, I will have the luxury of picking and choosing the work that I want to do.
Okay. Because we're both on the same page there, yeah.
So, but the difference is, I bought my building. You've got rent to pay, so you might find yourself stressed in 1 month. So,
hey, listen, the amount of equipment I buy, I've bought, I'll be pissing all over your production. Don't you worry. I'll only be working 3 days a week.
Oh, man.
Right, so you've got your premises, okay. So, and how much did you say? 300 grand for your premises?
300 grand. I'm calling it 300 grand. But
I've got about 250 grand left. So we'll say I that's my rent for a couple of years until I earn enough money to buy it.
Yeah.
So I don't have to worry about my rent. You see, for 2 years.
Oh well, that'll get you going, won't
it? Yeah.
So
on the beachfront with me and Tom Cruise.
So on your island, tropical island beachfront.
Yeah.
It must be one of Richard Branson's islands for that cheap.
Yeah, it's got a full runway, a DPD service and everything, don't you worry.
They come on a jumbo jet.
They do, yeah.
All your gear lands in a crate and that's parachuted in.
That's what they do, yeah. See, it is Fantasy Island print shop. Right. So we got to start at number one. What's your biggest purchase? What's the one thing you've spent the most money on?
Right, I reckon my most expensive outgoing is my Lotus Holland reclaim system.
Okay.
I reckon.
Straight in with the brand. Okay.
Yeah, I reckon. Mate. Now, when you're shopping around for these things, you don't just stumble upon a price. You have to get in touch with these people. So I haven't gone to that extreme. I'm sort of taking a rough guess.
I might be cheating here. I know all the prices.
Well, you've got an advantage over me. But you're going to tell me that I've well overspent by the time we've finished.
Come on, give me how much you spent on your what's your Lotus Holland? How many chambers?
Three.
3 chambers, okay.
3 chambers, yeah.
And how much money you put down on it?
I reckon 100 grand.
Okay.
Do you think I've got
you will
change?
have you're about double there. So for just slightly less than half of that, you can get your 3 chamber Lotus.
Oh, well, that's not bad at all then, is it? Oh, well, this is working out a treat. That might be able to spend a few quid on my green room then. So
that's another fruit machine in corner.
yeah. So
Jasmine, ordering that bandit that I saw. And Space Invaders.
I mean, if you're going to gamble, at least it's your own machine, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, God. So I've got my Lotus Holland. I mean, since we're in the screen room, I might as well finish it off.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, let me give you my screen room. Do you reckon your shopping list can be sectioned into rooms? If I say screen room, print shop, finishing room, do you finish?
I can do that, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I ain't got a playroom, but yeah, I can do that.
A playroom. We'll see if you're going to change.
Yeah.
So, I would say the next most expensive item in my screen room is going to be my laser to screen, which we talked about last week, and I'm going for a Sati LTS, I believe they call it.
Yeah.
Just because that's the only one I could find on Google.
Yeah, it's about the only one flying around at the minute. Yeah.
Yeah, there didn't seem to be a lot of competition.
I think watch this space. I think over the next 2 to 3 years, we'll start to see other brands come along. The Sati one is I've tried it, I've played with it. It's a reliable unit. It's a good unit. It's high resolution. But I think my opinion for what that's worth is that this little market is going to open up hugely now, and we're going to see a lot more laser screens on the market, and the one place they'll all trade is price, because it's very expensive at the minute. If it costs more than the press, it's expensive.
Yeah. Well, I think I've budgeted about 50 grand. I don't know how far off at market I am with that.
For LTS?
Yep, Sati LTS, 50 grand.
Well, let's just say then that your Lotus Holland that you've got and your LTS, the prices that you got for each of those...
Swap them.
The sum of them, you're going to swap them, yeah.
Right.
Your LTS is around about the 100 grand mark, and
Bloody
your Lotus Holland is just less than 50.
Wow. Well, it's still balancing out then, so that's good news.
So yeah, totally, we're in the right total.
Mm-hmm. And I've gone for Sati as well, because I use Sati emulsion, so I don't even have to mess about trying to work it out. So that works out great. Other emulsions and equipment is available. We just happen to have picked these ones. It's not that we dislike the others.
Please don't take my estimate prices as a quotation. I can't buy it for this. This is just roughly hearsay. That should at least satisfy some lawyers out there.
Yeah. I'm still waiting for a check anyway, so...
Me too, yeah.
So I've got my car wash, I've got my Sati LTS.
Yeah.
Now I've gone for... Now, I don't know if I'm going to say this word properly. Probably not. Zentner.
Yeah, Zentner.
Premium auto coating machine. And again...
That's the same one I would have gone for. I haven't gone to the model. I've gone for brand. You've really, really researched this.
Well, I've actually looked for the actual product pages. I just wish I could have seen prices. I mean, I could have been really accurate, but they don't really... They won't show you them buggers. No. But again, I've gone for 50 grand for one of them.
Okay, that's way over.
Oh, well. That's all right. I've got a bit more change there, then. What do you reckon?
Yeah.
20, 30? 10? Got to be
single screen
10.
or double screen? Which one did you look at?
I think it was a double, because you put one front and back, don't you? And it does two at a time.
No.
Oh, no, you're right, actually. Yeah, you're right, sorry. Yeah, so I must have gone this single then. Yeah, that's it. I must have done,
Okay. So my interpretation of that price, again, it's an estimate, don't quote me on it, is around about the 15 grand mark.
Right, well, I'll tell you what then.
1.5, not 5.0.
Since if I've over budgeted, we'll double up. I'll have a double or two. You know, 1 week put 2 screens in. Well, we might as well,
Yeah. Yeah.
haven't
Okay.
I? So that's me reclaim system, LTS, auto coating machine.
Yeah.
Last thing I need, and I'm pretty sure my screen room is geared up as good as it gets. An auto rinser, which I've only just discovered last week when you told me about them. But yeah,
Okay.
I had a little look, and I think it's MH. No, it isn't. It's M&R, and I think they do the eco rinse.
They do. Yeah.
And again, I've gone for 25 grand as a random guess.
Yeah. That one you've got right.
Right. So I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
Got one slightly off, but we're getting there. So that for me, screen room nailed. I can spend time in that screen room finally and actually enjoy it and not face me demons.
You can actually clean screens, make screens, and come out with the same coloured clothes you went in.
Oh no! Well, I tell you what,
you don't have that little bit of ink stuck on back of your elbow. You're not slightly delirious on solvent fumes, and your feet don't get trench rot. So win-win-win.
I mean, part of the condition of this my new print shop, it'll be the McLaren of print shops. It'll be immaculate.
You mean the Mercedes?
Apart from the cow shit that are kicking about around in fields. I'll try not to trample that into the shop, but
traipsing sheep shit through your green room. Yeah, that's ruined the illusion now, haven't you? You have to bring reality into it.
So I think, and I don't know about you, I don't think I could put out else in there, really.
So how much you spent there then? 225 grand.
100, 200, 225. God, you got this maths thing sorted, haven't you? 225 grand. Bang on.
Right, so in comparison, although it's not much different because there's not a lot available.
I think the screen room's the only room that I've kitted out properly.
Okay, I'm dreading getting to press because you've gone to so much fucking detail. I'm just going to name you a colour of what I've got. So we'll start with laser to screen. Yeah, exactly the same unit as you.
All right. Yeah.
Mainly because lack of choice. There are some single units out there.
Yeah.
Single units are around about the same price. So for me, I'm thinking, well, screw that. I might as well make 2 screens. It takes me about 3 minutes to image screens.
Yeah.
Whether there's 1 in there or whether there's 3 in there, because the bar moves the same distance pretty much all the time. So I would do almost the same unit. There are some really, really nice units around that come from the graphics industry. People like Brunig and Lucia. But because they're from the graphics industry, the price is almost double.
Yeah.
The one that we're thinking about. And I think at that money, it's almost too prohibitive. We can only print so many shirts. We can only charge so much for our shirts. The chance of getting money back for something that really doesn't produce the end product, it doesn't print t-shirts.
No.
So the chances of getting money back off that are a bit high. So
Yeah.
although it's fantasy, it is still sort of anchored in reality.
Yeah.
And that's the reason I've gone for what you might call the cheaper laser to screen rather than the top of the range, does everything, absolutely superb.
Does the graphic industry LTS have higher definition?
Well, no, because the laser to screen that you're looking at now is about 2,400 DPI.
Right, that's pretty good going there.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, it's huge.
That's as good as any desktop printer, if not better.
Yeah, and the whole, currently the standard in the industry for CTS is about 600 or 800 DPI.
Oh wow, big jump.
I honestly think as screen printers, our standards have increased so much that 600 DPI, which 10 years ago fully acceptable, superb, great, nobody will ever see the difference.
Yeah,
is now no longer good enough.
God.
And I think, as print, don't forget, right? If you print film, you're printing film, aren't you?
Yeah, film, yeah.
So you're printing film at 1200 DPI.
Yep.
Your printer is what, a $3,000 printer?
Yeah, about that.
Less?
Yeah, about ballpark figure, about $3,000 it was.
Yeah, so for $3,000 you're getting 1200 DPI. The current CTS systems, whether they're wax or inkjet, are all about the $50,000 mark, and they're only 600 DPI.
Right.
Now, all the sales guys will tell you that's all you need. You're only printing t-shirts. That's all you need. You're only printing t-shirts.
Yeah.
But when we start to look at it and look at some of the really fine detail that as printers now and as customers are demanding, then that 600 is not quite good enough anymore.
No, that surprises me, because I wouldn't have guessed that. I mean,
some of the new ones are close to 900, but the older ones that have been around in the industry now, it's still 50 grand, around about 600 DPI.
I mean, if we're putting films out at 1,200 DPI, when we're exposing it, there must be a little bit of loss. We're not nailing it 100% 1,200 DPI.
Yeah, you are, because that's the edge of your vector.
Yeah, I guess we are.
It's not your frequency of your dot; it's your resolution of your image. So even if you just draw text as Chippy T in text, the edge of the T is the resolution of that edge is 1200 DPI on film, but only 600 DPI on wax printer or inkjet printer.
Yeah, I mean, if we expose halftones on a 120 mesh screen, it's serious detail, seriously good detail. So that surprises me about the old CTS only being 600.
It's very a lot of people mix up resolution and frequency, so it's very easy to get them confused. They are completely two separate things. If you think of the frequency as the number of dots that appear in a measured distance, so in an inch, and then the resolution is the crispness of that dot that appears in that inch. So even if we were printing a football-sized dot, the edge of that football is the resolution.
Yeah.
But how many dots we get in an inch, that's the frequency, the line count, LPI.
Yeah, right. All I hear is the bigger the number, the better. That's all it matters to me.
Yeah, I wandered off. Even I went off on a tangent then. Sorry. Right, okay, here we go. It's your job to bring me back now.
I've lost already, mate. I don't know what we're talking about.
Right, so laser screen. I got the same unit as you, and I think current prices are around about 110 grand.
Right.
That's my understanding. Again, not an official quote. Don't bombard my social media with, I could get it for £109,450, you're £300 out. Go find something else to do.
Is that your biggest expense?
Oh no. In the screen room, yeah. But that's my screen room.
Right.
So again, auto developer.
Yeah.
The reason I insist on an auto developer, I can highlight from a visit yesterday, 2 days ago, 3 days. Oh, time don't matter. This is not even real time. A couple of days ago, I visited a print shop, and nobody touches these screens. They are completely and utterly automated. So, auto coater, spraying wax on with a wax system, auto developer, auto reclaim. So nobody gets hold of a power wash and tries to blast these fuckers into next century.
Yeah.
So this thing's 3 years old, this static frame, and it's still holding 23 newtons. So
I saw that. I was quite impressed by that, because a 3-year-old screen's going to lose some tension. I mean, we don't have any 3-year-old screens.
They only get stretched at 25 to 26, maybe 27 if we're lucky.
Yeah.
And they lose about 10% through the first cycle that they go through of heat and power and water and the actual physical printing. But then this one's been through the ringer for the last 3 years and still kept that tension. And part of that is because the pressure of the water that's been hitting that screen has been consistent for the last 3 years.
That's incredible. You're saving a fortune on screens.
That's the auto developer using time rather than pressure, which is, something I always try and preach. Stop trying to blast it into next week. The emulsion's soft. You'll get a sawtoothed edge if you use power when you're trying to develop. Use time. And when the machine's in control of the time, it's always a 2-minute soak, followed by a 30-second pass at 60 psi.
Yeah.
Then another 30-second soak, followed by another pass at 70 psi. When you can be so precise then every image doesn't need checking, see whether it's been washed out properly or not by Johnny come lately in the screen room, was probably smacked off his tits on solvent. So it standardizes it. I love the standardization. So my auto developer is a Zentner. Again, 2 screens at a time, very much like the Eco Rinse, and I've got my price at around about 30 grand.
Right.
Very similar to the Eco Rinse. In the field, I don't see much difference between the two of them.
No.
Apart from one's got a clear window where you can see what's happening, and one's got a curtain that you can't see. But they both smell like shit on a Monday morning.
Oh, I hate it.
So then, auto coater.
Yep.
Again, my auto coater is a massive integral part. I can coat screens pretty much with my eyes shut, in the dark, after a few beers, barefoot, with one eye open. It doesn't matter. I can coat screens because over the last 30 years, I've coated so many, I don't even think about it anymore.
No.
But my screens that I coat on a Monday will be different to the screens I coat on a Friday.
Yep. It's just another human variable.
I'm only a squishy. I'm a human squishy. And there's no way I can coat like a machine. And I'm trying to. So the next best thing is to buy a machine that coats. Constant pressure, constant speed, constant angle of coating, front and back at the same time, every screen the same.
Yeah.
The cost of that, here's where I've got a little bit of a dilemma. I've used the double screen ones, and they seem to be the best value because it's a big investment.
Yeah.
But from a speed point of view, I honestly believe the single screen coater is the fastest. And despite the fact that you're doing 2 at a time, you've still got to get 2 out, prepare 2, put them in, take them out, put them in the drying cabinet, put 2 in. And it's not impossible, but it's so much easier to just pick one screen in, bang it in, press a button. Take it out, put it in, press a button. Take it out, put it in, press a button. You're not juggling 2 screens.
Yeah.
So for me, I didn't, and bear in mind, it takes around about 30 seconds, maybe 40, to coat a screen, because it does both sides at once.
10 elephants.
5 elephants.
5 elephants.
Then I'm talking putting the screen in, pressing the clamp, pressing the button, and then taking it back out again. The total time is about 30 to 40 seconds. So having 2 screens doesn't really benefit me, I don't think. So I've gone for a single unit that I can get through a door, stands in the corner, doesn't take up too much footprint.
Right.
And I budgeted around the 15 grand mark for that because I want there are a lot you can buy that are getting imported from China.
Yeah.
And the ones from China, nobody's sure what they'll be like in a year or so.
Yeah.
So I've gone for the European manufacturer again, Zentner. I've seen shitloads of these in the field. They don't break, and I think they're a good, solid piece of equipment.
Yeah, better not to cut corners. You know what I forgot?
What?
I haven't put a bleeding drying cabinet in.
Yeah. Well, have you not got an old wardrobe upstairs you could use and a Glen heater?
I'm just going to have to hope it's sunny. I'm just going to have to do my screens 3 days a year.
Sunny. open that fucking window, yeah.
Just hope sheep don't get to it.
Right, so, auto reclaim. Your car wash as you describe it.
Yeah.
This one got me really perplexed for quite a while. And you can tell I'm not represented by any brand because I'm going to run them all down now. for all the good I'm about to lose any sponsorship deals we could possibly have had. You understand that?
Well, we're not picking sides.
So
we love all brands equally.
Yeah. I have seen so many installs of these over the last 5 years.
Right.
I've even bought one myself when I used to work at a place.
Yeah.
And when I first bought mine, I thought it was the best thing since sliced bread. I was like a dog with 2 dicks. I loved it. I was throwing screens in that didn't even need reclaiming just to show off. Look at this, put a screen in here, it comes out ready to cut. And for the first 4 weeks, after messing around with the chemicals and getting the mix right for my emulsion, my exposure time, and my ink system,
Yeah.
which was 95% Plastisol, then I was getting screens coming out ready to coat.
Yeah.
Now, I say ready to coat, but I want to degrease them. Now, the guy who sells me the chemicals says, oh, this chemical has a degreaser built in, so you don't need to degrease them.
Yeah.
But I'm a stubborn old Yorkshire bastard, and I'm going to degrease them because I just don't believe him. So I'm still giving them a final sort of like little wash, which gets rid of any splashes or stains or anything. It also gives me a chance to actually give them an inspection, make sure the machine's done its job.
Right.
So it's at this point that I realise after a month, 80% of them are okay, ready to coat, but 20% aren't. They've either got a lump of ink or a lump of emulsion that hasn't been removed. Well, all right, I can accept that. I'm okay with that, 20%, yeah, okay. Compared to I was scrubbing each one before, I'm good with it, I'm down with it. So I accept that 1 in 5 is going back through. And after another month, I think everything's great. Speak to the screen guy. You like your new machine that I bought you? Is it nice? Is it lovely? Is it great? Is it fantastic? Am I superb? Oh, yeah, this is great. Isn't it? He's like, yeah, but I have to put them back through again. What? What do you mean? Yeah, I'm putting probably half of them back through again now.
Bloody hell.
Tell you what, do me a favour. Start a little tally chart. Then, because I'm so old, I had to explain what a tally chart was. Like a 5-bar gate? No, I don't know. I tell you what, I'll get a tablet. Put a tablet there. Just put it through. Okay. So we get the figures back, and after 3 to 4 months, I'm getting 100% going through twice, 100%, and maybe another 20% going through 3 times. So of course I'm on the phone to the machine manufacturer, telling him his machine shit, and I'm fantastic, and it's a pile of crap. I can't believe he sold me it.
Yeah.
And so it comes across as, look, it's your chemicals. You need to change chemicals. You've had 1,000 screens out of it. It's time to change chemicals. Okay, all right, I'll accept that. It's something like 700 quid to claim the chemicals. I've mentioned this, but I don't like spending money. So I'm like, hang on. I used to put stencil remover in a squirty bottle that I got for £1 from B&Q. I scrubbed it with a scrubber from Aldi. And I reckon total month I spent about 20 quid on stencil remover.
Yeah.
Now over 3 months I've spent 700 quid. This can't be right. So we should have video, so you can put your hand up when I've gone on too long.
Oh no, I'm just. You crack on. I'm enjoying this.
So, after spending the money on the chemicals, changing it, I go back to the first week. 80 to 90% are coming through perfect. Okay, I've cracked it. It was just chemicals. But then I go through the same procedure again after a month. We're down to 80%. Then we're down to 60%. Then they're going through it more than once. And the screen guys now got wise to me. And when I say, because I'm getting angry with him,
yeah,
are they going through twice? No, Tony, they're perfect. And I'm watching him, like a little bastard. He's going through twice and just not telling me. So I thought, hang on, this isn't right. And it sort of it muddied the waters a little bit for me. I thought, am I doing something wrong here? And I look at it like you do a dishwasher at home. So I've got a dishwasher, I've got kids, and if I let the kids put the dishes in the dishwasher,
I know where to go in this.
They've got to go again. You know what I mean? There's mushrooms stuck to the bottom of pans that have been hidden by glasses that are upside down and all sorts of shit.
I know. If you stick a dish in that you've not even rinsed off, you're just washing it in mucky dinner and then wondering why it comes out filthy. I imagine it's exactly the same with screens. If you stick your screens in with, and again, it's a human element. We're automating, spending a fortune on reducing the human element, but it's a bleeding human element that's letting it down again. Because for sticking, I wonder if the people who were doing it for your screen room goblin, or whatever phrase you used last week,
swamp donkey,
that's it. I like goblin actually. I quite like that.
I like screen goblin. I think screen goblin's probably a little bit more polite than swamp donkey. So screen goblin.
If he's not carding ink out, and I understand that it has ink remover as one at Chambers, but you don't want to leave an excessive amount, and you want to be scraping as much as you can and sticking them through that way. Is that what was causing it, do you reckon? Or?
Yeah, and that's the key to it. So my plan, me being sort of, thinking this thing through in about 3.5 seconds in a punching point, was to put this unit at the bottom of the dryer, so in the production room.
Oh, really?
So
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
It was the operator's job to card out any excess ink, remove any tape, and drop it into the machine there and then.
Yeah.
So I wasn't making a store of these used screens to be all put through at one point. It was like, 3 screens come off the press, 3 screens go in the machine. And it's unattended cleaning, so all that happens is 3 screens come out 12 minutes later, however long the cycle is. And by the way, 12 minutes is probably about a right guess for the cycle.
Yeah. Right.
And the girl on the end of the dryer was looking for these clean screens coming out, and she just put them in a rack. So, for me, I thought I'd done really well with it. It was only when I realised they were going through a few times. But if they didn't card it properly, they left a lot of ink on there, then the first chamber didn't get, a 1/2-inch thick lump of dried plastisol at the back of a screen.
Yeah.
Because I've had no cooling station and it's all cured in the mesh. The bit of tape that nobody got off, that falls into the bottom, blocks the nozzle, all this crap.
And then it carries into chamber 2, which reduces the effectiveness of that one. And then
remember how I described these 2 chemicals, ink remover and stencil remover?
Fighting each other.
They're like the 2 drunken cousins at a wedding.
Yeah.
We've got to keep them apart, otherwise they fight like fuck.
Yeah.
So the component in the stencil stripper is neutralised by the component in the ink remover and vice versa.
Right.
So we have to try and keep them apart. So when we get cross-contamination, what we get is a weakening of both chemicals. So the unit I bought had 3 chambers. First chamber, remove the ink.
Yeah.
Second chamber was remove the emulsion. And third chamber, automatic jet wash both sides. Yeah. So
just plain water?
Just plain high pressure water. This was the high pressure water rinse. So basically the first one is supposed to dissolve the ink by spraying it with ink.
Yeah.
A couple of things to bear in mind. Oh God, I could get really technical with this and really boring, but
no, go for it.
A couple of things to bear in mind when we're spraying solvents.
Yeah.
If we are spraying a solvent with a high flash point, high or low, one that bursts into flames quickly, then the machinery that we use has to be ATEX. It has to be anti-explosion.
Right.
So that means all the electric bits are insulated to death. It's got to be sort of like NASA space station regulations to make sure that any vapor from a highly sort of flammable material doesn't come into contact with any electronic switches, which makes perfect sense. So the way round this is to use an air-driven pump, which has no electrical or physical parts rubbing together, no bushers, no motor, no nothing. It's just an air-driven pump. And that air-driven pump then pushes the liquids through pipes with little holes in. So in effect, we're spraying it. We're trying to replicate a dip tank, basically.
Yeah.
So it sprays the ink remover on there. And then that's supposed to dissolve all the ink. Well, if you've ever tried to clean Plastisol up, just spraying it with solvent doesn't work.
It doesn't out, does it? No, you've got to scrub it.
You've got to agitate it, you've got to rub it. Now, the machine I bought was a Lotus Holland, and it's got rotating brushes in there, so it agitates the ink remover.
Yeah.
Actually, a really good idea. Works really well. Can be a little bit abrasive on the edge of the screen, but it still works really well.
Yeah.
Then it leaves there and goes straight into getting sprayed with stencil remover. So the problem is the cross-contamination of those 2 chambers is really high because one's dripping into the other.
You almost need a chamber in between that does the water.
Oh, it's funny you should say that. That's almost scripted. So the machine I were going to buy has a chamber in between.
Right.
So that's the Zentner, the multi-line, which has got 5 chambers. So it's got that resting chamber in between to stop that cross-contamination.
Right.
So I'm hearing some reports that some people are putting. Have you seen the all-in-one strippers? The ones that remove ink and emulsion in one go.
Yeah, I've tried
So
some of them as well, but not.
if we put that in both chambers, then it doesn't matter, we get cross-contamination, and that seems to work quite well.
All right.
But that's further down the line. So if we go right back, and you drag me right back like you should do, from waffling on about all sorts of swamp donkeys and screen goblins, then we come all the way back to I'd buy the 5-unit with five chamber unit.
I know. Well, I'm
Give me an
gonna
answer,
have to upgrade
Tony.
mine as well now.
Straightforward answer, Tony. What would you buy? I'd buy the 5. Okay, see you later. Bye.
This is going to be a record-long episode. I don't mind. It's going to be good.
Could be, couldn't it? Could be. Yeah.
So, would you say this though? Before let me interrupt you slightly. You're going for this fancy as fuck 5-chamber car wash.
Yeah.
Are you sticking a washout booth as well? Just because you're going to have to every now and again touch him up. You know what I mean?
This is the killer that nobody wants to hear. I've seen units from 20 grand standalone units that just are automatic jet washers.
Yeah.
Up to units that process 2,500 screens per day. Yeah, huge. With a staff of 7 people constantly feeding this machine.
Yeah.
And at the end of all the units, even if it's from the 20 grand one all the way up to the 200 grand one,
There's a washout booth.
There's a guy with a jet wash and a washout booth.
Flipping hell.
Oh, the best case I've seen was a guy with the 3-foot step ladders.
Yeah.
And he just leaned the screen against the 3-foot step ladder and gave it a quick blast with a jet wash. But it came out this 250 grand machine. Like, there's something wrong somewhere here.
Just get a washout booth. Come on.
Yeah. So, I mean, at the end of what I'd bought, I honestly thought, shit, have I bought a 40 grand dip tank? If I'm still jet washing every screen.
Well, it still saves your arms a bit, doesn't it?
Does it, though? Anyway.
I mean, to be fair, it's something you did say, 12 minutes a cycle. I could scrub and rinse out more screens than that machine in that time. I'd be knackered doing it all day.
I'm going to say
I could beat it.
That's not speed, that's frequency.
All right.
So it's not 12 minutes a screen, it's 12 minutes cycle. So if it moves at I think it moves at 1 minute at 30 seconds. 1 meter, 30 seconds.
Right.
Top of my head, don't quote me on that. But basically a screen is around about 600 mil.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's taking about 1 1/3 screens every minute. It takes 12 minutes for it to come out the end, but it's cleaning one just over every minute.
So it's a continuous stream of screens. So you'll get to 12-minute mark and they all start falling out.
Yeah, think about your dryer. It's in your dryer for a minute and a half.
Yeah.
You can print one every 20 seconds.
Yeah. So you're not waiting 12 minutes per shirt. Get to 12 minutes and then they just start falling out over end.
Yeah.
Right, I'm with you now.
So 12 minutes is the frequency, and 1 screen every minute is the speed.
Right.
So it's I'd like to be shown one that still works perfectly, ready to coat after 6 months in a print shop. Now, I did travel around Germany and I visited lots of shops, and I went to a place that's had this exact same unit and they've had it in their shop for 18 years.
Yeah.
And the screens coming out were beautiful. They were perfect. But you know what? So were the screens going in. Because these were Germans. They were doing everything properly.
I was going to make this comment. Isn't it funny? Germans and Dutch and
Austrians,
that
Europeans
sort of area,
in a general, yeah.
Don't they just do everything better than us?
I'm not sure I want to jump in on that comment.
Don't bring midget porn back up.
No.
But they do. You even just by social media test, the shops look immaculate. Everything they do just looks so much more clean and efficient than we do.
They do things properly. You know, you've only got to look at the car market against our car market.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You buy a German car, you know it's engineered to death.
Yeah.
You buy a British car, you're basically in a TVR from Blackpool if you're lucky.
Yeah.
But even they've stopped making them now. So yeah, it's it is a cultural thing that they do make things very well. So their print shops that I went into, you imagine there's not even a drop of water on the floor in the screen.
I can imagine, yeah.
There's no ink anywhere. The type of ink they were using was a little bit more higher solvent. So therefore the screens that they were presenting to this machine had already had a clean.
Yeah.
They weren't caked in ink. But a couple were doing transfers and they were presented full of Plastisol or carded Plastisol.
Yeah.
And they came out clean. But when I looked at them closely, I wouldn't like to coat them. I'd like to give them a rinse first. So I think the thing we take away from this is buy the machine to automate the process and give you a price on how much it costs, because you know exactly how much fluid it takes, you know how much exactly water it takes, and you can get a real good price per screen.
Yeah.
Automate it so that you don't have to find the screen goblin every 6 months when he leaves.
Yeah.
And automate the process so that you don't leave yourself open to any cost regulations that are constantly changing.
Yeah.
Because if you were to follow every regulation where you cleaned a screen, you would have to have the full biochemical hazard suit on.
Oh, yeah.
You would have had to sit the test to say that you understand all the dangerous mixing of chemicals. You would have to have all the proper equipment, and you would be limited, and you would have to monitor your exposure to these chemicals, and you'd be limited per day as how long you could be exposed to it. You know, I know, we go right back to the other end, and you can just wash screens out in the shower. But if you were going to do this exceptionally properly, then everything has to be documented. So the option of getting a machine to do this, which never has a day off because its grandma's cat's got anxiety, which never turns up with a mangy face and only cleans 10 screens that day because its birds flipped him off. And it never gets tired, and it always does things at the same pace. So even if it always produces a screen that you have to rinse with water, accept that. But there's a danger that I fell into, and I expected the screens to come out of this car wash ready to coat. And if a salesman tells you that his machine will do it ready to coat, give me a bell. Ring me and tell me. And I tell you what, if it comes out ready to coat, I'll bare my ass on Brid front. Because you might get one. You might get lucky and get one. But completely finished, ready to coat every screen, it's a holy grail.
Me and RJ play a game, and the game is, what would I do to get an auto? And running around Brid with my knackers out, bollock naked, is on that list. not to go on a tangent.
You scared me to death then where you were going with that. I have no idea where you were going with that.
I won't tell you this. It gets pretty dark.
You know, in the morning, you're going to have a queue of machinery salesmen outside your door.
I'll do a run that town naked for a machine. Bloody no, I'll chop my arm off. For a machine.
They're not as expensive as you think when you've got all this money. Right, okay. So where were we?
We can basically say, get yourself a nice reclaim system, but stick a nice washout booth at the end of it, just to rinse it off with a degreaser.
How much were I spending on my reclaim then?
What did you say? Well, mine's about 100 grand. You sound like you've gone for a slightly fancier one with 5 chambers.
No, your
oh no, sorry, I got it wrong way around, didn't I? Mine was
you
50.
thought yours were 100 grand, but your 3-chamber one is
more
actually
like 50.
half that, just less than half that, probably about.
So do you reckon 5? Somewhat closer to 100, do you reckon?
So between 100 and 110.
Right.
And you can get automatic magazines that load the screens and unload the screens for you.
Right.
So that's what I'd do. I'd have the auto loader and auto unloader of screens. So you just got a magazine of 10, and you put a dirty screen on, and then nobody has to sit there every minute putting one in.
Just catching them. Bloody hell, he's got robots.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So my reclaim budget was 130 grand. That's how much importance I put on that cleaning of screens. Because the theory behind that as well is, if I'm going to spend that much money, I'm going to have a salesman live in my screen print shop and inspect every screen, and if they're not ready to cut, he's going to give me my money back.
Yeah, definitely. Bloody hell. She's spending that much dosh. I don't care if you won it on lottery, you still want your money's worth, don't you?
So have we done the screen room? Oh, drying cupboards.
Oh yeah, I forgot to put a bloody drying cupboard on. I don't know. I don't know any particular, but we'll just say I'm going to stick a couple of tall drying cupboards.
Okay, so Vastex drying cabinet, 24 screens. Your size. What screens were you using?
Was it 32, 24 or something like that?
They're just two numbers you picked out of the arse.
Was it something like that? 32 inch.
23 by 31s are the smaller ones.
Something like that.
I'd straight away go for 23 by 35. So I'd go for the bigger screens right at the very beginning.
I think that's what I use.
Yeah, so slightly bigger.
Yeah.
3
oh yeah.
tall.
I don't know why people use small option.
Yeah. So well, some of the machines will only take those.
Well, I've seen there's a particular green press, and they all use small screen.
In different countries have their preferences, and I was really surprised to find that the Americans love the 23 by 31s, which we consider the small screens.
Yeah.
That's their standard. They love those. They think they're normal.
Right.
Whereas you come over into UK, we get a little bit more retail-y, a little bit more fashion-y, which calls for a slightly larger print and certainly longer. And 25 by 36 is the standard.
Oh yeah. Well, an oversized print now, it's people don't even call it oversized anymore. It's just sort of standard. It's going to be massive, isn't it?
They do love it, don't they?
Mm.
But I don't know for how long, because I've seen trends go forwards and backwards, so I don't know if it's going to keep as a trend or not. But right, so screen room,
done, dusted.
Two drying cabinets.
Two drying cabinets. Yeah.
Each cabinet holds 24 screens. I've got one for developed screens.
Right.
And I've got one for coated screens.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Keep them separate, and they are roughly. I don't want to quote them, so I know they're definitely below 10 grand each. I think they're about 7, but I'm going to say in my budget, if I put 20 grand aside, I'll get either 2 or 3.
Yeah, I think just about. I actually looked at those particular cupboards myself, and I think you're about right there.
You can get. I go into places that have got upwards of 1,000 frames in stock, and they process a couple of hundred a week, and they've only got drying capability for 5 screens at a time. And draw things that come out.
Yeah, I've seen those.
What are you doing?
Yeah, why?
Oh yeah, but it fits here and it's nice. It's fucking huge. It's 4 foot by 6 foot. You can't get more than one screen in at a time. What's going on?
You know what? I think in that case, I mean, you've spent a few quid on that. That 5-drawer dryer, you spent a few quid on that. You could have easily got, I'm not going to say the shop's name, a certain very popular screen print equipment and supplier who has his own brand of drying cabinet. I
thought we agreed at the beginning of this. Take the gloves off and name the guy.
You can get yourself a Dave Roper special. And that'll dry it way more efficient than a 5-drawer. That's what I've got, and I love it.
Is that the sort of thing that doesn't come with a Glen Eater? You have to buy your own Glen Eater and put it at the bottom.
No, it comes with a little fan heater that you stick at back, and it blows in through an hole. And
does it come with the heater, or do you have to buy it separate?
Yeah, it came with one. Mine came with one, and honestly, it's just an aluminium box with a rack for 10 screens and a door on front and a little thermometer. I mean, a little fan box heater that blows hot air into the back.
Mm.
Is it as good as a Vastex 7 or 8 grand job? No. It does the job though. It's pretty efficient for me.
For me, it's really, really important to have the temperature control. For me, it's really important to turn that cabinet off, that fan off, when it reaches a certain temperature inside. So the drying cabinets that I've seen all have a temperature control on them, and that's what's important for me. Far too many times do I see that the guy puts the fan at the bottom and the bottom screen shrinks or moves because it's got...
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Well, to be fair to you, I had to adjust it. We had to move the fan back and we time it. We know how long we do. It does have a thermometer on, but you obviously can't control it. And obviously the bottom screens get hotter first. So it's we have a bit of a system where we're putting screens in and we're moving them top to bottom. But we've got an efficient, fast system.
Mm.
If I want to spend £8,000 on a Vastex with a thermometer control and I think they even have timers on, if I'm not wrong. Obviously, that would be better. But depending on your budget, those Dave Roper specials do the job. Those Dave Roper specials are infinitely better than sticking a fan in front of your screens, covering them in dust and crap and grease.
Completely. Now, although I would buy the units, my preferred method is a drying room.
Right, all right. So dehumidified room.
A drying room that I wheel in and out racks.
Right, yeah.
So I put my screens onto racks, whether they're coated or degreased or wet or developed, throw them into the room, and the room can take 10 racks on wheels. Each rack holds 25 screens, so I can do 250 screens processed at a time, and I temperature control that room. Because it's not always about heat, it's about the extraction of air, movement of air, getting that air moving around. I've been into the largest print shop I've ever known up in North America, and their drying room is just a room, and it's around about 30 degrees, and you're just working there. It's okay to work in there.
I'll tell you what works well, which is a very similar process of what you just explained. This is if you want to do it on a budget. Do you know you can get these drying tents or dehumidified tents with air extractors that they use for growing basically weed, and they're like metallic lined tents basically with a door. I've seen people put these pop-up tents with the air extractor van and a dehumidifier, and they just, like you said, the screen racks that are on wheels, they just have them wheel them in and out.
Yeah.
And they seem to work really well. Not that I've got it, I've never tried it, but I hear it's supposed to do the job.
Yeah, I know what you mean. They're in hydroponic stores, aren't they?
That's the word I was looking for, yeah. The hydroponic tents. That's literally all it is.
For when you want to grow your own vegetables.
Yeah, sorry, what did I say?
Very similar. So
from the green room.
Yeah. Oh shit! Now I know what your green room's for.
No,
okay.
I'm joking.
We're disclaimer. It's too late. We've already shot our load on this one. We've named people. I've quoted
my
prices.
Lawyer is checking his head at me right now.
Absolutely. I'm gonna have to move after this. Fuck it.
Dave Roper will be chuffed with me though.
Yeah, you've said his name 7 times now. Is he a tenner every time you say his name?
And I complimented him. Complimented his stuff. I know it was a budget option, but it does the job if you're on a budget.
If the end of this we get and I'm Danny, use my discount code at Screenprint World. Then me and you are done.
We can't sell out after 6 episodes.
No, we've got to hold out a little bit longer. Got to go to video at least first. Yeah.
Give it 10.
Yeah.
Right, we've done this green room to death. Is there anything else you need to stick in it? Or are you proper chuffed with yours?
I think I'm all right with mine, unless I'm missing completely something. Filtration unit was the only thing that I would have put in there as well.
Yeah, I mean, my actual screen room, not my fantasy screen room, my actual screen room now is dehumidified, and we have a little box on a wall that tells us the what's the word I'm looking for? The humidity. Yeah, so I think because I think that is something that is often missed. It's all right washing your screens and storing your screens in the same room, but if you're wondering why when you're printing the emulsion's wearing away and stuff like that, it's because you're drying your screens in a very humid, wet room. You need your rooms at a certain controlled humidity.
Did we hit a Danny top tip shop hack?
Danny top tip shop hack.
So, what's the humidity you need to keep it above or below to avoid that emulsion falling off?
Don't ask me that. I can't remember.
50%.
50%.
As a rough guide, 50%.
Why have I got
I might as well throw some numbers out there. I'm going to get ragged over at Coles for everything else. I might as well throw some proper numbers out there because somebody will ring me up and go, I find 49 works really well. Well, you go be you, kiddo. Off you go.
You do you, boo. You do you.
Right, so we've done the screen room. We can draw a line under it, can we? Can we close that door?
I think we both
put the red light on.
We're
Obviously,
both pretty
we've got
kitted out.
safe light in
Screen
there.
room is buzzing.
Just on a side note, on because can never do as I'm told. Safe light. Do you use a safe light? So yellow lighting.
Yeah, I do. I use.
How do you do it? Do you save all your Quality Street wrappers and stick them all together and put them over your light bulb, or what do you do?
Yeah, I've got a roll of the safe light film. It's a big roll of film, and I just wrap it around my bulbs. There's no windows in there anyway, so.
Is it specially made for the job, or is it just something you found?
It's specially made for the job. And I know that because you told me what to get. I can't remember what it's called, but you told me.
Oh, did you get the amber?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, because you can get two options. You can get a film.
Company.
Yeah, you can get a film on a roll, or you can get actual sleeves.
Oh, that's Encapsulite.
That's the one. Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure this film came from the same place.
Yeah.
If I'm not wrong.
Which is good. Well, the reason I'm asking is I've been in a print shop recently whose entire screen room is lit in white light. The lights are left on overnight because it's a 24-hour system.
Yeah.
Unexposed, coated screens are left under this white light for more than a week.
Yep.
And they're perfectly safe.
Well, UV safe light doesn't necessarily mean dark, yellow, and red.
No, the new LEDs that come out, it's to do with the frequency of light. So emulsion reacts somewhere between 380 and 410. So if you've got a white light that's kicking out 360, but it's still perfectly white to deal with and to work in, it never touches the frequency that your emulsion reacts to.
Yeah.
Same if you've got it almost too bright at the frequency of 450, then the waves are so small that they pass through the emulsion and don't activate the light sensitive bit.
Yeah, I would like to make that upgrade. I'd like to swap out my bulbs, to be fair.
So every time I go to this place, I ask, where do you get your bulbs from?
And
it just replies at the same time every time. I don't know, Sparky put them in, they're all right, aren't they? I'm like, but they're 20 foot up. If you get me some ladders, I'll physically go take the bulb out and have a look at what it is, because I'd love to put them everywhere else.
I know. Be handy that
they're just LEDs. Sparky put them in. And that's it.
So
that's all I get.
Just totally dropped onto it and got lucky.
Just completely looked it out, yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Let's do another episode of Tony myth-busting screen print things. So, is it perfectly safe to coat your screens in a not UV light safe environment? It's just more of a storing of them when they're dry. Because I've heard conflicting rumours that you can coat your screens wherever the hell you want. It won't hurt it, as long as they're drying in a dark place or a light safe environment.
I think the answer really falls back on the scientific principle of don't talk bollocks. Basically, you've got a light-sensitive product, and it's light-sensitive whether it's wet or dry. So stop listening to the knobheads online. And when you've got a light-sensitive product, protect it from light. There you go. There's my Mythbuster.
I always have, just as a disclaimer. But I had heard that. I've also heard people put it in the fridge. Whatever that's all about.
I've heard putting it in the fridge gives it a longer shelf life, but I think that's only because it's kept in a really fucking warm room where it's lasting about a month because it's being cooked every bleeding day.
Yeah, it's more that it's stored in a too hot of an environment rather than cooling it down.
It's important that it's stored in a controlled environment, let's put it that way. And in England or in the UK, it's very rare
not so much of an issue.
Above 20 degrees as an ambient temperature inside a screen room. So unless you've got your heater uncovered, your Dave Roper special fan heater is blowing heat into your screen room and keeping that temperature about 30, 35, where you're storing your emulsion and your coated screens, then no, maybe not. Screens and emulsion need to be stored in a nice, cool, dark environment, protected from extremes of temperature, that's pluses and minuses, and protected from any UV light whatsoever.
Unless you've got those fancy new
white
LED bulbs.
White LED lights, yeah.
I need to find out what they are.
It goes against sort of like 30 years of experience that, no.
You would be nervous, wouldn't you?
Put them in the dark.
You'd be nervous, wouldn't you? I mean, if you came to me, if you slid into my DMs and said, right, I found out what these bulbs are called, go order some, I'd be nervous about leaving them. In that
There is a coin test. Have you ever done the coin test?
A coin test? No. Go on then, how's that work then?
I'm shooting all my load this week, aren't I? I'm not saving anything. The coin test is to stick a coin on your coated screens that you've just coated up and they're dry. Come back in 3 days or a week, and when you expose the screen, wash that screen out, see whether you get an image of the coin.
Interesting. I've never heard of that. I'm going to try that.
That comes from Corey at Floodway.
He's got his share of little life hacks in. He's just full of top tips, honestly.
He is full of top tips, yeah. Shout out to Corey, he's full of top tips.
I'll tell you what about Corey as well. It shows how much of a small world we live in. He used to live in Hull.
No way. Yes, he has told me that. He used to live in Hull.
He went to uni in Hull, yeah.
It's not Hull, it's Hull.
Yeah, Hull. And we were having a conversation about how much of Mrs. Tetley's.
Yeah.
Quite a bit of yeah, I like Corey. He's got some good tips.
Yeah.
Right, so screen room done, dusted. We're moving on to print shop or print floor, basically where your press is. Who would like to go first? Would you like to go first, Tony?
Have we got time for this?
I feel like this is an extended episode because we've only done one room so far.
we've not actually spoke about this at all. This was just like a 3-second floating idea around, shall we do fantasy print shop? Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's go for it. So, in my fantasy print shop, I'd have 2 presses. So this is where a big deal of my money's gone.
Right.
So I've done articles before where people have asked me my perfect sort of fantasy print machine.
Yeah.
And so I've made up a machine that's, a little bit green, a little bit blue, a little bit red, a little bit black. But for this...
So you're taking features from different presses?
That was for an article I wrote. For this for this process, I'm going for an off-the-shelf, something I can buy. Oh, shit.
Because we are rooted in realism today, aren't we?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, yeah. Is that the sheep I can hear in the background in that field you're in? Oh, no, it's the smackhead with a tambourine.
Jesus.
So, where were we? All right, press number 1. So my ideal press number 1 is going to be an MHM SP5000 Auto Reg 1816 extra large print.
Right.
And that's
about a chuffed with us.
That's about as most expensive machine I could think of. Purposefully didn't go for an oval because in Tony's fantasy world, I'm not printing fashion. I'm printing retail.
Right.
I'm printing water-based, and I've got a strict 1,000-piece minimum order quantity. Fuck you all.
Yeah.
So
you got to consider
those facts are important when you're deciding what machine to buy.
How many print heads and print stations, pallets, did you say?
1816.
Right. And how many flashes?
You see, I have got flashes as well. 3.
Right.
So the reason behind 18 by 16, you can buy a machine. You can buy an oval that's got 52 print stations on it.
Yeah.
You can buy a 5000 with up to 24 stations on it.
Yeah.
In my experience, the 24 colour jobs are so rare that hopefully with skill and communication with the customer, you can downgrade him to a 14 colour job.
Yeah, surely.
Let's just get this down to 14 colours. You don't need all those colours. Let's mix these 2 blues together. Let's do this. Let's use some tones on this.
I think I've only ever needed more than 6 colours twice in my life. Never mind 14, 15.
I've seen 22 colour machines. They're just so big.
Yeah,
they're so heavy. This particular type uses a lift and lower of all the print heads, and you're going to need a big, hefty compressor to keep this constantly lifting and lowering.
You're going to need 1,000 square foot just for that.
Yeah, it's a 6 meter diameter machine, definitely.
Bloody hell.
So that's my press. Uh,
That's press number one.
That's press number one. Auto reg, because it's still. All right, okay. You buy. I don't know if you drive. You buy a car, right, and you've got the option of putting heated steering wheel, heated and cooled seats, seats with a memory, so it goes back to your position. Right, there is absolutely no requirement for that whatsoever, other than look what my car does. Yeah, my car, for instance, if I wave my fingers at it like Harry Potter, it turns the volume up and down on the radio control. The only person that's ever impressed is me, because nobody else looks at it and goes, "What the fuck are you doing with your finger? Just turn it down."
What are you compensating for?
And for me, yeah, just not go down that dark road. So what we've got there is auto reg. When it came out, absolutely perfect. All the screens were in different positions so we could save. It's perfect for repeat jobs. So I spend 2 hours getting the job absolutely perfectly in reg. I press save, and then a month later I can put the same screens back in, press load, and they all go back to the same position. I've just saved myself 2 hours.
Oh wow, that's fantastic.
So for me, and that's been out since 92. It's not new technology. It's been out a long, long time. I bought one of them in 97.
Right.
And it transformed the way that I looked at printing. Now,
this is the one that uses studs, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Right. CTS. Yes, an MHM, definitely. Yeah. CTS has come along and sort of negated that little fact a little bit, because if we get the CTS right and all the screens are in the same place anyway, we don't need to go through all that bollocks of lining them up.
No, I guess not.
So for me, it's a little bit of heated windscreen and steering wheel. I don't need it, but it's nice to have it. So that's my first press.
Right. So why have you gone for two? You're kicking some serious production out of this shop, aren't you?
I've got to pay for this fucking £1 million I borrowed.
Yeah, I suppose you have. Well, I won mine at lottery, so I'm not worrying about that.
Right, okay. Well, there's a drug dealer looking for his money back round here, so I've got to seriously print some shit. And then my other machine.
Just give him a tambourine, that'll keep him happy.
Yeah. My other machine is the same format, and the reason it's the same format is I don't want to mix formats, mix palettes, mix squeegees, mix screen sizes. So it's the same, but a smaller version of 1412.
Right.
So I've basically got two MHM SP5000s multi-flash, but only 3 flashes because Shall we open this can of worms on flashes?
Go for it. We're not holding back so far, have we? Might as well.
I've just come from a factory that has a 4-colour press with 3 flashes. So nothing is printed wet on wet. Everything is printed flashed.
Yeah.
Which means their skill level is very low. And that's not a nasty thing to say. It means they've never had to deal with the noise of sticky hot Plastisol or water-based underneath the screen and work out how the fuck to sort it out.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean now, yeah. Oh, God, that gives me nightmares, that.
Yeah, it's horrible. I'm confident I can print a 10-colour job with just a base, a flash, and 9 top colours. So I know I can do that because I spent my entire life doing that.
So
and it's picking the right mesh cap. Base, flash, and 9 colours, no flashes in between at all. All wet on wet. And not get any problems with it. Now, water-based, I can't do that. I only know one guy, he's probably listening, Scooby, and he can do that with his eyes shut, and I'm really envious of him. But
there's a certain ink from a certain manufacturer that claims...
now we're being cryptic.
All right. Magna, obviously you've got Magna, you've got your Aquaflex, and then you've got your HB or HD range. And I'm pretty sure HB. The HB is like specifically for that reason, if I'm not wrong.
I'd have to challenge that fact, Danny.
No, but I printed.
Not that the ink won't, but I don't think they claim it does.
All right.
That's my issue. I don't think they make that claim. I think they'd be crazy if they made that.
Well, I might have just made that claim up, to be fair.
I think you've made it up, so we might retract that. But with water-based, I find 4 wet on wet is my maximum. So after going onto a base, I can do 4 wet colours, and then I feel I have to flash.
Yeah.
because of the the actual makeup of the ink, it doesn't like.
Rheology.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I was trying to be.
Imagine me being able to say a word and you not.
Yeah, especially if it's got an R in it.
I know.
So that's why I'd have those flashes. I don't think I'd need them for Plastisol work, but I would for water-based, and I'd probably go for a water-based shop from the beginning.
You asked me this last week, and my instant reaction was I'm going to go back to water-based. But do you know what I would actually do? I've thought about it in between the time. I've decided I would print Aquaflex whites or Discharge white and Plastisol top colours.
Okay.
And I've got all the gear on the world to make water-based work. But I still, personally, I just like that finish better.
I won't put Plastisol on top of Aquaflex.
Well, I did that for a lot of years, if I'm honest.
I know, yeah. And I'd be worried about the wash test result, and I don't think it's the softest ink in the world anyway. So if I'm going to put it on something, I'm going to put it on Discharge base with hardly any white in it, or Discharge base with maybe 20% mixing white in it.
Yeah, just to make it a bit whiter.
Yeah.
Well, we'll leave that one up in there for now. But
yeah, we won't go in there. So they're my two pressers. Come on, Danny. It's time to shut up or put up. What's your press?
Right, so I've gone print shop floor. I'm going for an S-Type Extreme MHM.
Okay. Configuration?
14 print stations, print pallets, 12 print heads, 2 flashes.
Good.
Now, I'm not sure if that's got the auto reg feature. I didn't actually consider that.
It hasn't.
It hasn't. Well, like you say,
I've
I've got
me on the 5000s.
I've got laser to screen. I don't need it anyway. Well, good.
You don't need it now.
Now,
and your shit hot as well, so you don't need it.
Obviously. Now, I've not only done that, I've also stuck a knot head on it, MHM Pro Iron.
Yep. Two different brands there, but yeah, I know what you mean. Pro Iron.
Pro Iron? That is MHM, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is, because I found it on the same website, so it must be.
Yeah.
Well, right, yeah. So hothead, I was just using a generic. Hothead is in a generic term. I don't know, whatever you call them. I reckon that's about $100,000 here.
Yeah, you're probably about right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I've got. I mean, I've stuck a generic gas dryer because I didn't research this. I don't know what.
A generic gas dryer. I'm disappointed in you.
That's the only thing I sort of got lazy on. I'm just gonna say big gas dryer for 40, 50 grand. I don't know, just a big old gas dryer. I don't know what brand. I didn't really.
I can do you an hour on them. So okay, we'll just get over that.
I mean, I don't know. I got bored at researching. Gas dryers just don't excite me that much, so I didn't really look into the particular brand. It's just a dryer to me. But you're gonna geek out and tell me otherwise, I'm sure. But
I've got loads, loads and loads. But go on. So we've got a generic sort of rainbow coloured.
Yeah, I've just gone for
coal-fired dryer. You gone for what? What have you gone for? Coal-fired?
No, gas dryer.
Oh, you went for gas? Okay.
Go for gas.
You got to lay a gas line across that field underneath all them sheep now.
Well, I had about $500,000 left, so I'm sure I can afford it. And then S-Type Extreme, not the biggest press, but it's what I want. It's all I want to print.
We have to go back to what are you printing?
I mean, if I've got £1 million screen print shop, I've got all this gear. Like I said earlier, I'd be lying if I said I'd seen anything more than 6 colour in my inbox twice in my lifetime. And the same with digital squeegee thing. I've just got no interest or passion for it.
There isn't one in my shop.
No, and there won't be one in mine. And it's now, bear in mind, my print shop, I've geared it out. I've won £1 million on lottery. I've set myself up for life now to print what I want, who I want, when I want.
Forever.
And I'm not under the stress of having to keep up with production because I own my shop, I own my building, and I own all my gear. So all I'm doing is I'm just printing for me. I'm printing for passion, and I would get good. Printing to feel good. I'm going to kick out plenty of. I'm going to work for customers, and I'm going to do a good level of production, just because I would get enjoyment from doing it. But I'm not going to get a digital squeegee, and I'm not going to get multiple presses because I've got to keep up with the production because I don't want that stress. And I've got that luxury. I've just won £1,000,000. So that is why I've gone for one automatic, not the biggest automatic I could have got, but something that I could retire on and have a really good time printing and be absolutely chuffed to bits with what I'm producing.
Do you know I went for 2 presses? I love setting a job, getting it right, making it run. I hate putting 1,000 t-shirts on.
Yeah.
Or pulling 1,000 shirts.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Once I've applied my skill and got my dopamine fix from getting the job right.
You're gonna get Swamp Donkey back out, aren't you? And get him to load them.
Oh, I've got staff anyway. That's where my money's gone on staff. While that's running, I'm on the second press, setting up for the next job, so that my little team of 3 minions just press print finish and move across to the next job, which I've got perfectly ready and set up. So my day is basically made up.
You're setting jobs up.
Getting the jobs perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
This is why my minimum order quantity is 1,000, because I reckon that gives me about an hour and a half to get the job perfectly set up, and I don't have any downtime.
Right. Yeah, I like you thinking. Well, in that case, I'll tell you what else I'm going to stick in my print shop.
Well, you've got 500 grand spare.
Oh, I've got enough. I'm going to stick a 12 colour Sidewinder next to me auto in a little corner, and when I've set my jobs up on auto and I've got our Jade running production on it, jump on my Sidewinder, I'm going to play about with some high build and some fancy effects. I'm going to go mad specials and just piss about for a day. Just do stuff for me passion.
Freaky stuff, yeah.
Yeah. I'll just have to piss about.
I'll do freaky stuff, but I won't ever go back to a manual.
I have thought about this on a serious level, not on a fantasy £1,000,000 budget level. When I go auto, will I sell my manual to pay a chunk towards it and just have an auto in my shop?
Sell it.
Well, budget might dictate that anyway. I mean,
you won't get anything for it. You get like
no, you won't get it.
Sell it. All you'll do is it'll just gather dust. I go into so many shops and there's one in the corner just gathering dust. Get rid of it. Well, the whole point of buying a machine is trying to, when you're on a manual, you're trying to print like a machine.
Yeah. Well, you're probably right. I mean, to be honest, that was my initial first reaction anyway. I think the shirt show lads asked me that exact question, and without hesitation said, "Oh no, I'm going to flog it."
I keep forgetting you're a podcast whore.
I've been on all of it.
I'm still a virgin. This is
I don't know why.
First.
People keep inviting me. I've not heard my voice.
Yeah, they only invite you once, though, don't they?
Right, that's it. Yeah, I've not had any repeat episodes. Well, this is why we had to do it for ourselves.
Yeah. Right. So
print shop floor. We've got some pretty decent setups between us, and I think, but we both unanimously agree we're doing it for passion.
Yeah, production, making money out of it's just a sideline.
So what does that leave? That leaves the finishing room. Have you even got a finishing room?
No.
Right, well, I'll tell you what then. I'll tell you what's in mine.
Mm.
So I've got a finishing room. So when the production's done, they get carted off on a little trolley into the finishing room. And in the finishing room, we have got a T-fold tabletop auto t-shirt folder, which is about £4,000. Yeah. So that's just one of those plastic.
Yeah, absolutely.
They just flap over, and you've got a nicely folded t-shirt. I wouldn't go for the more expensive models that bag them as well. So it's almost like a conveyor belt. They get folded, and then it falls into a conveyor, then it comes out and it falls into a plastic bag. The reason for that is because they're not as crisp. They look kind of like loosely folded, and they land in an oversized bag that's full of air. So I'm just not a fan of that. I'd sooner have it folded precisely in a real nice crisp poly bag.
So the latest ones make the bag to fit the shirt. So the bag doesn't come as a bag; it comes as rolls of polythene.
Yeah, this is what I've seen. Yeah,
come together, and then the hot knives cut the bag to the shape of the t-shirt.
There's always a lot of air in them, isn't there? They're not super crisp.
throughout the process of the little stamper that comes down and pushes the air out. It's
Oh, right. I see.
How much do you think that line costs?
20 grand?
Times 5.
Jeez.
So that line that takes a shirt, folds it, stacks it, puts it in its unique bag, puts a label on the end, and spits it out ready for retail is well above 100 grand.
If you're in a very high production shop, totally, I understand it. But for me, I'm not gonna spend 5 times as much for something that I don't think looks as good. I think it looks better and nicer.
For a lot less money, you can just make a little cardboard tee with some brown tape hinges and pay your nana a tenner a day to come and fold for you, and she'll love it.
Well, this is the level we are currently at. This is what we've got.
The
It's not
folding
cardboard.
Nana. Auto nana.
We've got one up and we've got a plastic one off Amazon for about 10 quid.
Yeah.
But that'll do for me for now. The next step up is 4 grand, a little tabletop device that just does the exact same thing. You just press a button. So it's slightly quicker.
I came from a shop yesterday that has the 100 grand line sat there.
Yeah.
Gathering
Sat
dust.
there not doing all.
And there are 9 nanas around a table folding faster than the 100 grand could ever fold, and neater.
Probably cost more than 100 grand a year just to pay them more, doesn't it?
No, the nanas. They only want a tenner a day.
Yeah, good
Boiled
point.
sweets and they're fine.
So that's my little folding station. I would like a rapid tag, specifically the extra large 2 colour 6 station 2 flash.
I don't think I'm going to work in this industry again if I actually tell you what I think.
Well, maybe just gloss over that.
Yeah. Okay.
They look alright to me.
Okay. Extra large rapid tag. You've obviously never had one.
Well, to be fair, I've sort of contradicted myself as well. Actually, I've just realised, because not only have I done that, I've also got 2 heat presses, both of them air powered, so with a compressor, both of them automatic, and both of them with 2 heads.
Double
so
head,
I've got.
Yeah. So you've got the Styles Pro Air Fusion thing, yeah?
Basically.
Yeah.
They're pretty cool then, because you can even dial in. You've even got presets.
Yeah. Awesome machine.
Yeah.
Absolutely recommend one.
It's on my fantasy list, but it's also on my real life list actually. But anyway,
it should be on your real life list. They're not a fantasy one then.
Yeah, they're not super expensive either. They're very affordable. So I've got one of them. Well, so I've got 2. So I've got a cap-sized one, and I've got a large one for just for the sake of having it, to be honest. But the cap-sized one is for doing for doing transfers for neck prints. And obviously it's got 2 heads, so it automatically clamps one. You load the next shirt on the other side, then it moves across and does it all automatic, all compression. And yeah, so I'd have one of them. So I've sort of contradicted myself by getting a rapid tag. But I've got enough dosh to splash on that. I mean, what I want to do right now is find out why you're not so keen. But maybe we shouldn't go down that route.
I'm the exception to the rule. Okay, I'm gonna say I'm the exception to the rule, because you know what I do. I travel around everywhere and I go into people's print shops and I have a good old root around and a nosy.
Yeah.
And I would say 80% of the print shops I go in have a rapid tag. Of that 80%, 40% are using them. So there's a lot of gathering dust. Now, whether they're using them whether they're not using because they don't like them or the demand has dropped, I don't know. But all I can tell you is my experience. I bought one of these to do back necks, only back necks, because they're not strong enough or robust enough or refined enough to do anything else.
No.
In my opinion, disclaimer. So I bought it to do that. Bear in mind, I've come from a fantastic sort of 80 grand machine that does everything for me. It wipes my ass, makes me a coffee, sets the job up, does everything. And I get this little rapid tag that looks like it's been made by my granddad in his shed. And I'm like, what's this? This is like going back 20 years. There's no stop button, there's just a start button. It just prints and prints and prints and prints using an old flip-flop and a bit of metal that somebody's found lying around. With screens that I can't put in my exposure unit. And
No.
I'm like, this is like, they won't fit in my CTS, they won't fit in my LTS, they won't fit anywhere. I've got to go back to film for them because they're so
That's a
big
good
and
bloody
small.
point, that, isn't it?
So
I've not thought about through, have I?
So therefore, I had it and I bought it. And I bought it from a friend of mine and said it were good, said it were awesome. And my mentality in a print shop is I'll learn how to do it first. And once I figured it out, all the nuances, all the little techniques and shortcuts, I'll pass it on to my staff and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
So my mate who sold me the machine, famous in the industry, did exactly what he does every time. Delivered the machine and fucked off. Okay, what do I do with this?
Let's not mention names.
You're a printer, you know, we work out how to do it. I said, all right, okay, everybody knows who it is. It's John Potter. Hi, John, listening. But he just dropped the machine and ran. Well, you know what a printer, you know how to do it. Oh, fucking hell, fire. Is there an instruction book? No, just made by a guy in America. All right, okay. So I'd set myself a task of learning how to use this machine, do some backneck labels, because I'm doing at the minute on an S-type with sleeve boards on, and I'm knocking about 900 to 1,000 an hour out, which is great, and it's all efficient, but it's a blocker. It means I can't do other jobs on that press while I'm doing backnecks. Yeah. And sort of like 80% of my work wants backnecks on, so it's a blocker. So if I can just put one person on this magic machine that'll just keep flying out backnecks, it'd be great. I couldn't get it to work, Danny. I don't know if it's me on the machine, but I just couldn't get it to work. 7 days later, I ring John up and I said, John, come and pick it up. Oh, I can't take it back now. It's used. Yeah, stop it. Just take it back. I can't use it. It's not worth a toss. I'd rather block my machine time out and do them quickly and properly on a proper press that I can control the pressure. See, with backnecks, it's all about not being able to read them from the right side of the shirt.
Yeah.
And I couldn't control the pressure enough to do it. Now, I only gave it a week, but I did give it a week.
Yeah.
And after that, it beat me. And so everywhere I go, I see these machines and I see them working. I see them producing really good work using waterbased or Plastisol. I see them all over the place. And everybody buys them.
Yeah,
and everybody uses them.
See them in lots of shops.
But for me, I just couldn't get on with it at all. So I gave it back. I think I swapped it for some pallets.
Well, that's just your personal experience, that's all.
I swapped it for sleeve boards that I could do on my S-type.
Yeah, well, this is, I mean, I guess you've got to, which is quicker? Is it quicker to just swap your pallets out and just run them on a...
I could swap the pallets out in 6 minutes, set the screen up in like 20 seconds because it's all pre-regged, and off I go. I've got a mesh count that I use, a pressure that I use, a blade that I always use. Boom, done.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't transfer those settings to the little rapid tag. I'm not saying they're a bad machine because I do see them everywhere I go, and not just in England, across the world. There's a rapid tag in almost every print shop I go in.
Yeah. Well, this is why.
Just me personally, I couldn't get on with it. No,
I just assumed they were pretty decent. I still love your rapid tag. You can just sponsor me if you want instead.
You fucking sellout. Lead me down the path. Let me run somebody down, and then you jump in with, well, I think they're great. Use my discount code, Danny3.
Listen, I've already bagged myself a Dave Roper discount code. Rapid tag.
Oh yeah.
MHM are chuffed to bits with both of us, to be fair.
We have thrown like 2 million quid their way in last hour, haven't we? So
yeah. They're going to be chuffed. So I think that's my finishing room done. Not crazy, just I wanted a few little bits to just automate the finish. Oh, actually, there was one more thing. So it's an industrial scale. It's a Brother sewing machine. And now, I don't know what it's specifically called, but Grizzly Wheeler, I saw this in his print shop. I saw it in one of his stories. And what it does is, so if you imagine you're putting a hem label, a little woven hem label, this sewing machine, it's not your granny moving the t-shirt across, hoping to keep a steady straight line. You clamp it in. This thing goes super fast. It does an absolutely bang on dead line to the exact measurement you want. Just like that.
I know which machine you mean now.
It's a beast. I saw it for the first time and I thought, I'd straight on Google, where the hell is this machine? How do I get one? But anyway, it turns out you can't get them in this. Well, maybe you can. You have to get them imported. But yeah, they're serious bits of kit. So I'd have one of them, just for my M labels, which sort of does me finishes me finishing room off.
I didn't do a finishing room. I'd have the auto packer.
Yeah,
I would. Yeah, I like the auto packer. I'd have the heat press, the Styles Air Fusion thing. Really like those.
Well, seems like you've pissed all over Rapid Tag, you're going to need one, aren't you?
So the back neck labels have been overtaken at the minute. If you want to do them really fast with a pad printer.
Now then, I've seen this and it does look...
Yeah, everybody's seen that Chinese guy in the Gildan factory with the yellow t-shirts going about 3 million an hour. And I think that video is probably responsible for more pad printing sales than whatever
I bet it is, yeah.
ever conceived for hard goods, which is what pad printing is really for. So,
golf balls.
Yeah, pens, rulers, coasters, things like that, cups, anything that's misshaped.
Well, on a slight tangent, just a quick one. I tell you what I would like, purely because it's always fascinated me, and it's something I would like to do, but I can't justify spending money on anything other than improving the t-shirt side. But one day, I would like a cylinder printer, an automatic cylinder printer, just for doing pint glasses. I've always fancied doing that.
Did you see my Instagram story? I was at a place that were doing bottles and cups and pens
and stuff. Yeah. Well, I bought a shitty Chinese one off eBay, and
you didn't sell it to a guy in You didn't sell it to a guy in Wales, did you?
No, I'm not even going to try and sell it. I won't want to.
I had a guy in Wales wanted to print some vodka bottles with a machine he bought off eBay. Oh my god, there were bits missing and all sorts. And I figured I couldn't do it. It was just shit.
Yeah, I bought it quite a few years ago. Got it all set up, and I just could not get it to work. And I really wish I could have done. But to be honest, I've looked around, and them the auto versions. I don't know if it's semi-automatic or whatever. They're not as pricey as you'd think.
No.
So, but anyway, that would be if I'm in a pretty good place where I'm not chasing production and I'm a bit chilled and take a step back, I'd probably get one just to play about with. And yeah,
I think what I'd sort of have my side room, my side show room,
side hustle room
would be a digital room.
Oh, you would have to, wouldn't you? Why? You know what? You've gone down in my estimation.
Digitally printing onto hard goods.
How can you get any sense of achievement from that?
Hard goods. So your bottles, your pens, all your little stuff that you can do and get a really good sort of print and effect on those sort of items that you would look at and go, that can't be printed on. So that's what I would like to do.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
It uses LED to cure, shit like that, and different kinds of inks. I'd have it just to play. It'd be to play because I like to play with printing. You know what I mean? So I think that's mainly what it'd be for. Is just to play and see what I could print on what.
I just don't think I would. I just wouldn't get any level of satisfaction from that at all.
I thought I were analog. You're more analog than I am.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm chasing production and I've got bills to pay and I've got a lot to turn around, I'm sure digital play a part one day. But I'm
not talking digital onto garments.
No.
I think we should have maybe a separate episode on digital to garments.
I think it'll be short input for me because I couldn't tell you bugger all about it. Anyway, yeah, went on a tangent. Finishing room sorted.
We'll invite an expert on. That's what we'll do. We'll invite an expert on digital printing to come on.
That wouldn't be do you know that'd be a good episode? Get an expert to come and basically
explain to us Neanderthals why we should buy digital. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah,
that's a good idea. So, finishing room. Are you happy with your finishing room?
I didn't give it any thought.
There's not a lot to go, is there really? I mean, once you've got your automatic folder,
everything's going out printers fold in its original box.
So that leaves one last room for me. That's the green room.
This is your green room. Yeah.
This is where me and Jasmine and Jade, after a long day churning out t-shirts.
Long day watching a machine go around. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, Jasmine and Jade will be churning t-shirts out. I'll be pissing about with some high buildings and all that shit. I've spent £3,000 on a Tango Ice Blast machine, and I've spent £6,000 on a Mr. Whippy machine.
Now I'm with you with the Mr. Whippy machine. If you've got Mr. Whippy machine, I'm in there all day. Tango Ice Blast you can keep because I can't do with a brain freeze and my teeth out like that. But Mr. Whippy, I'm definitely with you.
And that's my green room done.
I think for anybody that's not listening in England, there might be one. Explain what a Mr. Whippy is, because in some places a Mr. Whippy is what the dog does in the corner. Dirty git.
It's just ice cream. It's just the best ice cream on planet.
It's the best ice cream on planet. Now there's a sponsor we need.
Mr. Whippy.
Screw the DTG guys. Get onto the ice cream man.
Honestly.
I need a screwball.
If it's a choice between Mr. Whippy and MHM, I'm sorry, MHM.
Yeah, you're losing out. Yeah. Play me green sleeves. I'm coming.
Yeah. So that brings my budget. Now we've had to adapt it slightly, but I've got £400,000 left. No, I'm sorry, I've got £600,000 left. No, actually, no, I'm lying to you. I've got £200,000 left because I bought a building with some of that. So I've got £200,000. Just stick it in the bank. Need a bit of cash flow, don't you?
I've got. See, I went all out. I bought extra pallets, extra squeegees. I've put £50,000 into something that you've completely forgotten about.
Just drying cabinets?
No. Evaporative cooling.
Evaporative cooling, right. Yeah. Well, you're going to have to explain this one to me because it's new to me. This.
20 degrees air conditioning, basically.
Does this take a print head up?
No, it goes in the building.
All right, so it's just in the bit where I am with you. It's just sort of air conditioning type of thing.
This is to replace your 1 metre by 1 metre window that you only ever open when you're not doing a podcast.
I'm going to say, I could do with that in here, I think.
And if you spend £50,000 on evaporative cooling, there's an added extra where you can get it to play the sound of seagulls or smacked off his tits accordion player.
Well, how jealous are you? We get it for free.
Yeah, but it's 45 degrees where you are.
Yeah, but I've not spent £50,000 on it.
I can go. It's in my budget.
I suppose. Oh, God.
And I think my budget went to. Yeah,
you must be pretty close, are you?
I am, but except I just put 1.3 million on something. It should have been 130,000. I've got £3,000 left.
£3,000? God, you've proper spent it up, haven't you?
£3,000, yeah. I'm going to have to work till I'm 95 to pay for this.
Yeah, I know. Bloody no. Do you know what the sick thing about it is? There'll be print shops that have got that. What we've just fantasised about, there will be print shops that have got that and more. Some of the shops you see with like 10 full-sized. The
biggest print shop I've been to has got 54 full-sized autos.
Oh, man.
If you think there's got to be at least one dryer for every two, so that's 26 dryers.
Yeah.
Screen room, 5 auto coaters, 7 imaging machines, countless thousands of screens, 2,500 screens a day, 1,000 on the night shift and 1,500 on the day shift.
But are they happy? The people who own them shops, are they happy deep down? The people who are working there aren't.
Yeah, he's like Count McDuck. He's jumping off his mountain of pennies every day. He's proper happy, yeah.
Bloody hell.
The guy on the end of the dryer, he's probably not as happy. And the screen goblin, he's got 7 screen goblins. So
I hope he's got a few Lotus Hollands in back.
No.
No, that'll be an ironic thing. 28,000 auto presses. Doing it in washout booth.
Yeah, it's a swamp donkey and a karcher.
Oh, jeez.
He gets free boots.
burn out every day, them things.
Right. How we do? I think we're done, aren't we?
I think we have pretty much ticked off every box. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our dream £1,000,000 print shops.
Absolutely fantastic. And if anybody wants to see whether this is actually a reality, me and Danny are open to donations. If you deliver the screen print presses to Bridlington and to Wakefield.
I've told you, I'll run that seafront with my bollocks out. Don't worry about it.
I'm going to make a really small press. Call it off. In fact, a rapid tag. I'm looking now. The rapid tag is. That's classed as an automatic press. If you get a rapid tag delivered to your door in the next week, I expect full video evidence of you running around Bridge Seafront with your knackers wobbling. How's that for a
bit
deal?
More specific. I mean, I'd still consider it, to be honest.
Right, so we'll wrap this episode up. Thank you very much for listening. What do we normally say? That if you like what you hear, then don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow on at least 2 popular social media channels, which is YouTube and Spotify.
Yep, YouTube, Spotify.
And anyone else? Or are we still at YouTube and Spotify for now?
For now.
Okay.
Oh, and don't forget to chime in with your £1 million print shops. What would you spend £1 million on?
Absolutely. Where can we comment that? On your Instagram and my Instagram.
Yeah, we've not really thought that through, have we? Well, if you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment below.
Yeah.
If you're listening on Spotify, maybe just slide into one of our DMs or something like that.
Perfect. We want to hear what you'd spend £1 million on.
Especially the green room.
You'd just be a sidewinder and then a massive green room.
Yeah. Just full of arcade cabinets and all sorts of stuff.
and hydroponic tents.
Yeah.
Right, okay, well that wraps this week up. Thank you very much, Danny. We shall do the same thing again next week.
Smashing. All the best.
See you
in a bit.
See you.